Thousands of people every year make it a goal to run a marathon. But what about 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days? Matthew Barnett took on this challenge to raise money for the Los Angeles Dream Center.
Yeah. And then today is also, you know, I wrote that musical about Amy Semple McPherson,
Sure.
who started Angela's Temple. Well, the pastor of Angela's Temple now it has started something called the Dream Center, which takes care of people in Los Angeles, the most difficult situations, people just fighting everything. Well, he is going to be part of the 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents, starting today to raise money for them. They start in Antarctica. Listen to this. Then they go to...
Wait, he runs a marathon in each place?
Yes, then to South America, then North America, then Europe, then Africa, Asia, and Australia to raise money for the Dream Center that fills the needs of over 40,000 people.
26 miles
a day.
So, Pastor Matthew, I know that being the Phoenix Dream Center, being an organization that's run really off of donations, right? You know, you don't have a lot of tithes going in for the people you serve, right? What were some of the ways, I mean, that you kept ministry going? It had to get difficult at times, right?
Yeah, I think you understand how challenging it is. There's not like predictable seasons of giving. It's just kind of it's whenever it comes in. And one of the things that I just decided years ago is when we expanded 200 rooms at the Dream Center, I think we might have bit off a little bit more than we could chew. We got a little excited, you know, because we finished these hospital floors and started taking more people in, but we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. And so we knew we needed to do something. And so somebody texted me one day this crazy thing called World Marathon Challenge. And I opened it up and I read about these people that were getting ready to run 7 marathons, 26.2 miles, on 7 continents in 7 consecutive days.
Wow.
So basically, they would run a marathon on every continent in 168 hours. And I responded back to my friend. I said, that's great. You know, they're courageous people. I don't know why you're sending me this, but it's neat to hear. And then he responded back and he said, I will give the first gift of the Dream Center of $100,000 if you run this. I'd only run 1 marathon in my entire life. These are like professionals. But we needed the $100,000, so I said yes, thinking, okay, it's a year down the road. You know, a year's a long time. It will never come. And then I realized it's getting closer and closer in the calendar. So I started training 90 miles a week, running for like 7 to 8 months around the Rose Bowl every day to try to get ready for this thing. And we created a program called Face Yourself and like facing the fears. And so people at the Dream Center are coming up to me in rehab saying, Pastor, I'm going to finish my rehab. If you're going to do this, I'm going to finish my program. And so everyone started to get inspired. And we went to Russia to run our first marathon on an old Terminator-looking airplane with things coming out of the ceiling and like made to land in Antarctica. And the reality hit me as we stayed in those igloos that night. We're going to run our first marathon on Antarctica. And then we were done and we were flying. And then a plane was flying over, landed, said, now let's go. We're going to South America to run marathon number 2, and then marathon number 3, and then marathon number 4. And so we were in South America. We were in Miami, Madrid, Morocco, Dubai, Australia. And by the time we got to marathon number 4, I tore my patella tendon in my left leg, and I was going to quit. I was literally getting ready to go back home, and God said, just give me one more marathon. Give me the 5th one. And I locked my left leg. We had 8 hours to finish, and I finished marathon number 5 on a torn patella tendon, and then I finished number 6 and finished number 7. Wow. And it became an inspirational thing across America. You know, nobody was really that excited at the first 4 when I ran them really fast, but I realized people could identify with your pain.
Yeah.
And once I limped to the victory stand, it became symbolic in people's lives that they could do the same thing too. We had $150,000 raised, and then with the patella tendon torn, we ended up raising $1.2 million for the Dream Centers. People saw it as like a metaphor of their own life and were able to finish up these floors. So I've done crazy things. We've done free throws for 24 straight hours in order to keep the Dream Center going. But that was something that forever changed my life. It made me realize how far deep you really could go. I had people showing up along the pathway to finish the marathon with me that I'd never met before. In Dubai, a man showed up and he stretched me every 400 yards when I was in so much pain. And He said the Lord told him in Dubai, as he read the word, to go find me on the boardwalk, and supernatural encounters and all this exciting stuff that happened. And so,
Wow.
you know, when you're called to a city, you're called to something for life, you just give it all you got.
Yeah, totally, and that's incredible. I remember that was an epic moment. I mean, I think you know ESPN, actually all the news organizations were covering it. I remember that moment. So speaking of that, you know, you said you talked about some physical challenges that you had. Were there any spiritual challenges you had along the way on that marathon?
Oh, many, many. You know, I had blood clots in my lungs that almost took my life in 2015, a pulmonary embolism. And when I got on the plane, my body was manifesting itself as if I was having another blood clot. And I really thought I was going to pass away on the plane, only to realize when I got landed and they took me to the hospital before marathon number 7, that I was having a stress-induced, heat-induced panic attack that was happening through the stress of the whole run. But for 4 hours, it felt like it was a blood clot, like the shortness of breath and everything. And it was just crazy, you know, landing and then taking me to the hospital in Sydney, and then a doctor telling me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm running 7 marathons." He said, "Well, great. Let's get you patched up so you can finish what you started to do," which is rare. Like a doctor is wanting you to get back out there to complete your task. So every step of the way, it was like people were pulling for me to get to the finish line. That's the beautiful thing about going through this experience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you said you raised 1.2 million. Were there what were some of the other results that you had from this fundraiser, other than even a financial gain?
Oh man, all the people and the Dream Center that finished rehab, all the mothers that got their GED program, all the veterans that, you know, finished their, like we had like almost 100% finishing of every single cycle during that time. It became
And that's
a
uncalled for.
mantra.
And working at the Dream Center, I know that those are numbers that we just don't always see. 100%, you know, success rate is huge. So do you really think the momentum behind the marathon was something that encouraged them, hey, if Pastor Matthew could do this, I could do this?
Yeah, I think it became a little bit of a mutual accountability.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get to the finish line no matter what it takes. And so therefore they felt like, you know what? We're going to do the same thing in our own life. So I think just the adventure itself created that one beautiful sense of accountability amongst each other.
I think it's amazing, and I think that's a great takeaway for any leader to take that into their own community. So what a powerful story.
Oh, it changed my life.